build muscle and lose fat on the carnivore diet. Hello guys, welcome back to segment number 60 of Carnivore Muscle Ramblings. The sessions where myself and usually Jerome Armstrong collaborate to talk about all things muscle on the carnivore diet. Fun enough, tonight we won't be joined with Jerome this time. He's not very well today, but he'll be back in action very soon. Anyway, please put your questions in the chat, beginning with a Q, and I'll be able to get to them quite succinctly. So thank you for joining. I'm just going to go through the chat quickly, see everyone else is doing. We've got Rick here. Thank you for joining. Zbigniew, thank you as well. Nice to see you here. Hitting the like button is mandatory upon entry. On a side note, I've been noticing that my views recently have gone back up, which is really, really good to see. Back up to about where I was before in terms of subscribers per month and views per month as of 3 months ago. So that's nice to see. And I started off doing these live Q&As, and they started with like 100 viewers, maybe 150 viewers. But I've been seeing recently these have picked right up 400 or 500 viewers sometimes, so it's good to see. So it means the message is getting out there. So I'm still only a small channel, but in proportion to my subscriber count, I'm getting a lot of views. So that's probably a good thing. I don't know. And yes, always got to do. Aggravators joining us. Wood stove lit, ribeye and egg is ready to go in the pan. You guys keep me informed and entertained. Perfect evening. Yeah, we're usually quite entertaining when Jerome and I get together. Thank you for saying that. And we've got Rick as well. Also, Matthew, thank you for joining. Nice to see you here. Vitaligus, probably butchered your name again, but I'm doing my best effort here. But nice to see you. Thank you for joining. That's exactly it. Definitely hit the like. Mandatory. And Ben as well, thank you for joining. Nice to see you. Fox, nice to see you. Mike's also here. Nice to see you as well, Mike. We'll have to do some kind of collaboration at some point. We'll get you on Carnival Muscle Ramblings if you're free at this time of day, maybe in a few weeks' time. Next week, I believe it's myself, Jerome, if he's feeling better, and Coach Nicole. So that's at Former Fat Girl. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. But maybe the weeks after that, we'll be able to have you on, Mike, if you're able. Nice, your views are back up despite having me on. And I'm probably getting more subscribers because of you, Rick. It's the it's entertainment value, you know. And what I did find actually with that session we did, was it last week or week before, I can't remember, but it was actually quite informative. And I can tell you've been listening to my stuff, or at least you've been listening to some good stuff, because you're well informed in nutrition, especially when it comes to exercise science. Like, you could pinpoint straight away what was going on with Sam Sulek's form. You know, you could tell by the expression in your face, like, oh, this is rubbish. So yeah, you're on good stead. Creative Soul, nice to see you. Hello everyone from Oklahoma. Brilliant. Probably about, I don't know, lunchtime where you are probably. Thank you for taking your time out of your day to come on tonight and see what we're doing. Matthew's question is the first of the evening. The question is, as chicken is high in lectins and other meats, should people be concerned? Honestly, no. I think when we're talking about any of these anti-nutrients that you'd often find in plants in high quantities, it's not a large amount. It's not an amount that our body can't deal with or tolerate. And I think ultimately, if we're having a mixed animal food diet, we'll gravitate towards certain foods anyway. I mean, I personally don't think I've seen many people that have had a diet which is predominantly chicken or poultry, for example. I think that your appetite kind of sways in favor of beef a lot of the time. I don't see a massive concern for it. As long as you're omitting all the plant foods that would be high in lectins, I think you're in good stead. Other than that, I mean, I've looked at some different anti-nutrients within different foods. Even raw milk has a couple of milligrams of oxalate in it. You know, it's not going to kill you. But again, you know, it's your own decision, really. I think a lot of these things are overstated sometimes. People can be quite concerned about, if you remember our talk a while ago about beef versus lamb. What we actually found was lamb is actually more nutritious gram for gram than beef. But when people say, oh, you know, eat ruminant meat, beef only, it's, you know, it's the go-to, isn't it? It's what everyone says. But what you got to think as well is people that say that have high accessibility to beef, but not so much lamb. Over here in the UK, New Zealand as well, we've got a lot of lamb. So it's not a hard find for us. It's not a challenge to get. I find actually lamb as well tends to be fattier. It does have a better omega-3 to 6 ratio. Ultimately, it's not the biggest deal. I mean, as long as you're eating animal food, you'll probably be fine. But, I think, like I said, these things are overstated. I wouldn't stress about it. I think follow your appetite, and your appetite will probably go more towards beef and lamb. Eggs, dairy, if you have it as well, fish. But myself, I have chicken. I don't know. I go through cycles. Some weeks I'll have no chicken at all. Some weeks I have chicken every day. But I'm having 4 meals per day, so it's not a big challenge for me to vary my food intake that much. So hopefully that answered your question quite succinctly. If you've got more questions to follow up with that, just let me know. I'll be able to advise you as best as I can. I listen to your stuff and read your writings. Yeah, Rick, let me know what you thought of the ebook when you get the chance. I understand it's quite a lengthy ebook, so keep your eyes peeled on that. For those that don't know, I did release my ebook today, about 9 o'clock this morning. It's available on the website at compositionconsultant.com. It's on the coaching and plans page, and you'll find it somewhere down the page. It'll say like new ebook, and it'll say Beef Up Carnivore Bodybuilding Guide. I've priced it at a very reasonable amount. It works at about $20 for the ebook, something like £16.99. I basically looked at other books on the market which are in a similar sort of space to this, and what I did is just undercut them but over delivered, and you'll see that when you buy it. I know Matthew's already bought the book, and I think Rick's on his way to reading through it, but it is tremendous value. It's taken me about 9 to 10 months to write. I'm writing that in collaboration with Jerome Armstrong, who you guys probably see on this channel quite a lot. His talk about training and some other stuff was incredible. When I read through it myself, I thought that makes perfect sense. Really well explained, really detailed. Sets, reps, time to tension, progressive overload, all sorts of strange terminology he goes through and explains all of these different things, and it's useful stuff. It gives you a lot of food for thought, so I definitely recommend checking that out. I'm actually going to bring it up on the screen now in case you guys can't seem to find it, but it is a really, really, really good ebook. I wish I had this available to me when I started 15 years ago. So I've priced it at a fair amount. Honestly, I can't charge cheaper than that. I'm not expecting to sell hundreds of them, but I have probably spent 1,000 hours gathering information to put it together. So, per unit of time, it is very affordable. I've got to find the book now. Okay. Because here we are. So this is my website, obviously. I'll probably just go through the whole lot, actually. So it's just the homepage. We'll see just some of my many, many testimonials, about page, stuff about me, whatever. Consultations, simple, straightforward, honest, transparent pricing plan. You don't have to dig it up in some email somewhere or have to get an inquiry through to work out how much I charge. It's all transparent. Probably the best thing about me, other than my nutrition understanding, is that I'm very, very honest with my pricing. I don't overcharge people. I charge people what I think is a fair amount. People get a lot in that time. So they start obviously at 30 minutes for £30, all the way up to 90 minutes for £75. The process is very simple. It's explained. Really valuable, really good stuff. I'm yet to have any client get back to me and say that my suggestion of a plan or a dietary approach is not useful or hasn't been helpful. I've got 100% success rate so far. And I aim it to keep it that way. So I keep ahead of the research that's going on in this space in terms of like anecdotes and even just my own personal anecdote as well, my own experience. That's very valuable. And these consultations are about half the price, if not less, than anyone else in the space right now, in terms of like the carnivore space. So I recommend checking them out. And back to the ebook anyway. So I'm just going to click on the website and find the page. So obviously, guys, now do premium coaching. It is exactly what it says in the tin. Again, half the price of everywhere else on the space. It's not cookie cutter programs. I don't use software or apps to make it easier for myself to make clients just pressing a button and it all generates itself. No, my coaching plans, the initial diet and training plan is about 6 to 8, maybe 9 pages long in every instance. So you get a lot of detail. So I recommend that one. And that's a rolling contract. And obviously, the more you buy in terms of the month period, the better value you get. Diet and training plans, similar to the coaching plan, but you don't get coaching. So you get a one-off plan, and that's what you get. And it's, again, 4, 5, 6 pages at least. These are just from my other ebook. So Advanced Hypertrophy Programming 101, Exercise Specifics 101, Carnival Crew. I'm still running this group. It's useful for you guys to check in with that sometimes. This is more like a soft coaching approach. And this is the newbie, the new thing. Beef Up Carnivore Bodybuilding Bible. So, a lot of people aren't transparent about what's in a book. I will say this, it's a long book. It's an in-depth book. It's just got the chapters on here. You might not be able to see very well. I'll try and zoom in a little bit. Might be all helpful. But yeah, I've got all the chapters written in, so you know what you're reading, where it is. You can easily take notes and find it. It's about, honestly, the end of the book is about 170 pages long. No fluff, no crap, no sort of like blah, blah, blah. It's an information book. It's a book to find out what you need about carnivore bodybuilding. So I recommend checking that one out. But yeah, that's the new ebook anyway. Great value. Highly recommend buying that. I can't stress it enough. I really can't. But yeah. Right, and get back to the questions now. I've been rambling too long. So Vitalai just said, I just never stick to chicken because every time I eat free breast or more after 3 hours, I'm going way too, yeah, you find that with a lot of things. You get full, like your stomach feels full, but you don't feel satiated. Very strange feeling. I understand that, and people that are trying to pack on weight definitely go for chicken thighs, add butter to it, ground beef, 80% lean, 20% fat, that sort of thing. Rick said, try heart attack chicken instead. Yeah, pork's fine. Pork's a bit higher in monounsaturated fats, but not necessarily a problem at all. There's pros and cons to almost every single meat. Depends what your goals are. I'll say pork, probably better if you've got skin conditions, perhaps. Obviously, trial and error. Rich in niacin, beef-free, great for skin health. What else? Pork fat, very low in deuterium, something like 115 or 120 parts per million. So if you're dealing with any kind of mitochondrial damage, that's a good addition to your diet. I know some people out there just eat pork. It's not that uncommon. Maybe less in the Western world, but definitely Middle East, maybe. Actually, not Middle East, no, definitely not. The Eastern world's a lot of Asia, they eat a lot of pork. So I'll definitely have that in your diet if you like it and it makes you feel good. Yeah, for those who don't know that, Charge Remote for the 40-year-old carnivore does actually have a YouTube channel. So I recommend subscribing to that, just like Matthew just has as well. I just started the ebook and it will take time to become familiar with it. It is better to beef up than to veg out. Yeah, I think it's better to be beefy than turn to a vegetable, certainly. Yeah, Rick's got some very entertaining content, some informative, and if you just want to relax and watch something which is quite light-hearted, quite good fun, check it out. I watch a lot of this stuff. I'll usually add it to my download list on my premium YouTube, and I'll just say, having a bit of a boring day and not sure what to watch, I'll chuck his stuff on. It always brightens my day, so I recommend that. So Mike's ending his Lion diet for a few weeks, going on vacation to Mexico in a few weeks, and will likely not have all meat options there. Will be a strict carnivore, but eggs, bacon, and butter are allowed. Excellent. If trying to pack on weight, if that is your goal, I'd definitely expand your options. I think I might have said this before, so apologies if I'm rambling and repeating myself, but it will be short-lived, I can tell you that much. Not many people stick to the Lion diet for very long at all. So yeah, I think if you can have more foods eventually. So I'm struggling with traveling abroad. Very hard to find some quality meat like here in the UK. Yeah, the meat everywhere else is not great. I think the best beef I've ever had, funny enough, was actually in Cuba. It was an all-inclusive hotel when I was like 13, 14 years old. And it's really, really good quality stuff. It just tasted different. You can just taste the difference. But over here, I've heard from a lot of people, they're saying, the beef over here is good. Sean Baker, actually, when he popped over and I saw him, was like, oh, sure. How would you compare the beef over your way to over here? And he's like, it's pretty comparable, actually. I'm like, yeah, I think so. It's actually better. Matthew said, we've got a question. Do you buy your standard chicken from the supermarket, organic, or from a farm? Non-organic chicken makes me feel like a yucky ducky. Fair question. I think the organic status of chicken, particularly chicken, is not that important. I think you're paying 2 to 3 times more amount of money for something which will have a negligible impact on your health status and your physique outcomes. The reason why I say this is chicken as a whole tends to be quite lean. Now, a lot of the toxins that we eat through meat is actually stored in the fat of the meat. So if you're having a lean chicken breast, even chicken thigh is quite lean compared to like 80-20 gram beef. You're not going to be emitting much of the toxins because there's just not much buildup because it is so lean. So I wouldn't be too focused about it. With my chicken, I just often get it from the supermarket. But some weeks I'll go to the local farmer's market down the lane. It's like 5 minutes away, and I'll buy 5-6 chicken breasts and have that over a week or something. But other than that, chicken breast from the shop is fine over here. It's not pumped full of chemicals. It's not added hormones. It's not GMO fed. We've got quite tight legislation over here in the UK, which prevents a lot of this stuff happening. Now, elsewhere in the EU, maybe not so much. Maybe they're not quite as strict as we are, but we're pretty on the ball when it comes to sticking to EU legislation, despite not being in the EU. And we do adopt the same EU legislation that we used to when we were part of the EU. So for UK chicken breast from the shop, no problem at all. I think that's another thing that's overstated, in my opinion. Carnival Brother says, thanks for putting this together. I want to check out the ebook. My pleasure. Yeah, definitely check it out. You guys know that I've been watching this for quite a while, my channel, my stuff. I don't promote anything that is rubbish. I don't promote much at all because a lot of it is rubbish. Now, when people ask me, oh, who do you subscribe to and who do you listen to, I'm like, well, Bart K, Harry Sopranos, Dr. Chafee, former fat girl, Jerome Armstrong. That's about it, really. In terms of like people that regularly upload, they're the only people I really consciously follow and support because what they do is good. I think what I've put together with Jerome is absolutely excellent. It's yeah. I'm talking. Once you guys buy it, you'll see for yourself how good it is. Honestly, I wouldn't hesitate because I'll probably increase the price at some point just because it is so dense of information. We're talking about 170 pages here of just pure information, with the exception of the last 10 pages, maybe a bit less, testimonies, but it all adds to motivation and inspiration. So I buy a store chicken butt to catch a wild one from time to time. Rick, I'm still thinking about you being like Sylvester Stallone in Rocky, where I think it's first movie, where he's trying to chase around a chicken in this like little run place, this little caged off area. Just imagine like a 6'5", 6'6" guy trying to chase a chicken around a fence. There's a group of feral chickens running around my neighborhood, and the noisy rooster may be in my kitchen soon. What's he doing there? Is he checking out the temperature in the oven? Nice. Well, that's all the questions so far already today. Whizzing through this very quickly. Unfortunately, we've not got many questions tonight. If anyone does have any questions related to nutrition, exercise, health, anything I offer in terms of services, ebooks, diet, training plans, what have you, just let me know, and I'll happily get back to them. Hi, Susie. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining tonight. I'm just going to quickly talk over my training plan that I've been doing for the last, I'll say 4 to 6 weeks. So Jerome put me on this training plan. Well, I asked for a training plan. He gave it to me, basically. So it's custom made for me. And honestly, I think it's probably the best training plan I've ever had. Now, you guys probably know, you've already heard me say this before, but it's effectively 5 to 7 sets total. And it's a push-pull leg split. And it's done on a rotation format. I don't know. I'm training about 3 to 4 times per week at the moment. And it saved so much time, so much wear and tear on my joints. My sets are lasting about 2 minutes a set sometimes, usually a bit less sometimes. It's been really effective, and it's challenging. It's hard work, and it's difficult which I really like. When I know I've only got 5 to 7 sets in a workout to try my absolute hardest, you're damn sure I'm going to do my best within a safe framework of training. So I'd recommend checking out Jerome's channel, which is just at Jerome Armstrong. He's got some great content. And I think he's also linked below in the show notes, or he should be. So check that out as well. Hi, Bob. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining tonight. If you've got any questions, please put them in the chat. Rick asks, is comparing land weight to underwater weight an accurate way of measuring body fat percentage? Yeah, I think so. They've got an algorithm or a format or a mathematical equation, which means that when the body is submerged underwater, they've got a pretty strong way to identify body fat percentage. What I'd probably suggest to people is to look at my video going back a bit, maybe about 3-4 weeks. Very, very, very undervalued video, in my opinion. 300 views, but it tells you how to measure body fat. I give you 3 methods in that video, and they all work, and they're all pretty effective. So we've got the subjective method. So you're looking at yourself in the mirror, taking photos, comparing your silhouettes, maybe your measurements, maybe a tape measure sort of thing. Another one, which is the digital body fat calipers, so like the pinchers. Another one is a bioimpedance scale. I think below in the show notes of most of my videos, there's the scales that I use, and I think the calipers that I use as well, maybe. So check that one out if you've not seen that video already. Do you have any timing recommendations for creatine supplementation? It's important for me to be complete here because people always say, "Oh, you didn't say this." And I'm like, "Okay, I was going to say it, but it wasn't part of the question." But if you're eating about 2 pounds of beef per day and you're a male, that's more than enough creatine, I think. If you're female, a pound and a half is probably sufficient. So if you're eating that much beef, probably don't need it. I still recommend people to try to supplement these sort of things sometimes just to experiment. You're tracking your weights in the gym, your performance in the gym, your recovery even, and see if it makes a difference. Now, with that being said, timing, I say have it whenever you want. One thing I'd say is just be cautious if you're starting to supplement creatine. For me, at least, it makes me urinate a lot, disproportionately to the amount of water that I actually take in. So I'd suggest actually having it earlier in the day rather than before bed. So that's my timing recommendation. So whenever you want, but if you're starting with it, just have it the very beginning of the day. The studies around the saturation dose and having it after the workout being the best, it's not true at all. The body will just take in what it does and doesn't need over a 24-hour period, 7 days a week. So that's probably the best way to look at it, in my opinion. Hopefully that's helpful. My recommendation for dosages, I usually somewhere between about 3 and 10 grams as well. So Andre said, I've been eating mostly chicken, but I think it means butter pats and eggs. Sometimes I still have satiety problems. Do you have any advice on how to increase satiety? I've been trying to do a body recomposition. Yeah, that's a good question. It sounds a bit bizarre, but sleep really well. Recover even better. So when you're not actually sleeping, just recover more. But be adamant, absolutely adamant that you get in the right sort of food. That's the key here. Switching up food source as well seems to be quite helpful. So that's why I say to people, I said to Mike earlier in the chat, I don't think he asked for advice. It's probably a bit unsolicited, but if you're trying to gain weight, don't do the lion diet. Don't do it. It's hard to gain weight on the lion diet. Limiting food choices makes things much, 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 much harder. So if you're eating chicken, butter and eggs, try having something else, beef, lamb, even biltong maybe. Find another way to cook it, to prepare it. I've got in my ebook, there's some different methodologies to cook food in that ebook. I recommend you definitely purchase that because it talks a lot about food preparation, which is quite helpful. So yeah, the main point is trying out different foods, trying out different ways to cook foods, rest really well. Your appetite tends to be a bit over the place when you eat, when you don't recover properly. Some things you can do as well is, I'd call it a leptin reset. So have your biggest meal in the day at the very start of the day. That seems to impact what you eat later in the day. In that if you're not emptying your bowels often enough, that can stop appetite. So if you get in food earlier, you've then got the whole day to digest it. Whereas if you're, lying in bed and it's just churning your stomach, you've eaten too much late at night, that's probably not going to be a great idea in terms of trying to maximize your food intake. Another thing as well, just eat when you're hungry. Don't force food. I do it myself, admittedly. Not great advice that I'd give, but definitely try and follow hunger. So don't force it. Your body will only gain muscle at the rate that it intends to gain it. You can't force these things. You really can't. You end up with health problems if you do. So I've got that myself at the moment. So what I'm doing at the moment is actually eating my carnivore protein butter bites, which is a recipe that I invented about a year and a half ago now. Effectively, it's whey protein, butter, and a bit of cream. So I recommend you check that video out. It is on my channel, and it is about 5 months, maybe 6 months old. No, maybe a year old even. So check that one out. Yep, there we go. I think carnivores get a lot of creatine spicy meat. Case in point. See, that's why I have to be so complete with my answers, otherwise people say I don't say it. I've been having discussions about these monthly challenges, people trying to say 100 push-ups a day. I argue doing them every day would show better gains. Thoughts? I probably wouldn't do them every other day, if I'm honest. In terms of if you're looking at muscle protein synthesis, you're looking at about 24, 36, 48 hours. The bulk of it is done in that period. As soon as you train, you turn on the catabolic, the breakdown hormones, the enzymes in your body to break more down. So I'd actually probably train even less than that. So your recommendation is better than their recommendation for sure. I'd probably say if you're going to try and do 100 push-ups as like a challenge, 2 to 3 times per week. I wouldn't go further than that. I think that's definitely sufficient. I'll be more a fan of doing some kind of progressive overload. I know they make these challenges because it sounds like flashy and stuff, but honestly, just find a way to do 10 push-ups and make it really, really difficult. Do them slowly, do them elevated. Then when you've done that, so when you're that angle, you're doing a push-up and it's really hard. Done 10 nice slow controlled reps, then do 11, then do 12, then do 30. That sort of thing. That's where I'd look at personally. But yeah, these challenges are short-lived. They're not sustainable. People get burnt out easily. It's hard to quantify if you're doing 100 reps because chances are, if you're doing 100 reps, you're going to feel like crap. Reason being, it doesn't take 100 reps to build muscle or get fit. The goal is to do the minimum effective dose, the least amount possible. Not because I'm lazy, but because I understand that people get joint issues. And that's very commonplace amongst people that would do all these sort of 100 squats, 100 push-up challenges. But it's a good question. Thank you. You recommend mixing carnivore and CrossFit? Personally, I don't recommend CrossFit at all just because the injury rate is extremely high. In isolation, the lifts they do can be useful. But in terms of the way that the CrossFit, the game, the sport is formatted is exercise, different movements, different motor recruitment patterns. Not ideal. I'd actually look at some other sport personally just because the risk of injury is extremely high. But yeah, if you're trying to mitigate the risk of injury and recover better, the carnivore diet would be your best bet. You're going to sleep better, your digestion's going to be better. So yeah, anyway, please put Q's before the question. I can't see my screen very easily, so it is very helpful if you can put Q before all questions, please. Matthew said, what do you think of the quality of pork in the UK? Iberica pork from Spain is meant to be the highest quality, but it's super expensive. That's a good question as well. All I'll say is pigs have a great detoxification method. Reason being is they have one big chamber, whereas if you look at a cow, it's like 4 or 5 chambers. They have to go through more processes to get the food out. A cow is, for the most part, I couldn't say how much, but herbivorous. Pigs, pork, omnivorous. They can eat a bit of both. So their detoxification pathways have to be appropriate for that. So if you think a pig is living for 10, 15, 20 years, or in a lot of cases a lot less because you're eating them, then they have to adapt fast. The the evolutionary traits, the genetic adaptations that go down the food chain have to be, what's the word to say it? I'm trying to think what I would say it. They have to adapt quickly, you know. That's how they're going to survive and produce offspring. So they have to be able to detox fast. So with that in mind, I don't think it's important to get specific types of pork. I think it's a non-issue. It's a non-factor. I think there's something to be said for animals being raised humanely, though, which I'm quite for. I think in the UK, probably a lot more humane than a lot of other countries. So that's my 2 cents in it. But yeah, non-issue, non-factor. I'm trying to find more questions. Yeah, please put a question before all questions in the chat. Put a Q, semicolon before all questions. Is okay eating the same and even more the rest of days of train to? I think you're asking, should we eat more on days that we train? I think eat to appetite. That's the short answer to a long, fundamentally could be well explained question. I don't know. I think just eat more when you're hungry. The body will sort itself out. I don't think you can force it. Go back to the question that was earlier from I think it was from Andre asking about how much to eat or something, or was it Matthew? But yeah, it's a non-issue. I think you're overcomplicating it. Definitely eat to appetite, especially if you're training for CrossFit. It's very recovery and performance based. You're not trying to force muscle on. So in that instance, you can't beat your body's own hunger signals. We've got Sophie. Sophie's here. Nice to see you. Sophie's probably eating her dinner now. Jonathan, just because I saw my name, I clicked this one. Jonathan and Jerome are unique with their fitness programs because they're not focused on bro science, but more senior fitness approach. Yeah, exactly. Rick, I'm like 1,000 years old. I've got the spine of a man that should be in his grave. So yeah, I'm very safety first. The reason is I know too many people in the gym that just have really, really, really trashy joints, muscle strains, muscle tears. I actually took my friend Jarrah for a training session the other day. You might have seen my live about 2 months ago. And he got a pec tear. I suspect from him training the way he was. I couldn't say, but imagine from his methodology of training. And he really could have omitted it just by training the way I do. Slow controlled reps, but training really, really hard. So I put him through a workout. We did 7 sets in total, and he was trashed, absolutely destroyed, wrecked, absolutely messed up so bad. And he was quite surprised. I was like, yeah, but imagine doing that, but doing each set back to back to back, so without any rest. So I was training alongside him, so he did a set, I did a set. So yeah, there's definitely something to be said for just training hard and let your body recover properly. Jonathan and Jerome are trying to provide knowledge that fits the science. Most of other YouTubers tried to fit the audience. Difference right there. Well, yeah, exactly, Mike. You're 100% right. Jerome and I have had this kind of thing come up before. We've been chatting offline about things, and like, well, why don't I have more subscribers to the content I put out? You know, like I actually look back at what I think, and I think, well, yeah, the presentation isn't always perfect. Sometimes a bit, it's not that flashy all the time. But what I say, the actual information I put out is 99.9% of the time accurate. You know, in terms of like what exercise science would say, the logic behind it makes sense. A lot of people out there just put out programs. You know, I've not put out a program as an ebook. I put out how to build your own program. So I've taken it a step above a lot of these people. There's guys out there, Jerome would know who I'm on about, but there's a guy out there who's charging, I think it's like $67 or something for an absolutely trash program, an absolute waste of time. Like, just rubbish. Like, overpriced, overhyped, all marketing. And that's the problem with a lot of people online. It's just marketing, you know. When you see people on social media, they're not friendly to you. They're not pleasant. They're hard to deal with. It just pisses me off. I get so fed up with that. I've seen so many people waste their money on this sort of stuff, and fitness should be attainable to everyone. It shouldn't be a big challenge. Now the workout, yeah, that's a challenge. That's the fun bit. The fun bit is the challenge. But recovering, nutrition science, science for what it's worth, is the key. The bottleneck in every bodybuilder, weightlifter, fitness trainer is recovery. I can put a gun to someone's head and get them to train really hard. I can, force them to eat if I was there with them, but I can't force someone to sleep and relax and chill out a bit. Most people I speak to that struggle to gain muscle are just doing too much. They're just doing way too much. They're just trying to do everything all at once. Like, I want to get rid of intestinal permeability. I want to, I don't know, train 6 times a week. I want to run a marathon. I want to climb a mountain. I want to build muscle, but I also want to do faster. I'm like, you can do those things. It is possible, but you're narrowing your field of view because you're trying to do everything all at once. So I always say to people when I'm like teaching them in a session, like a consultation session, I actually teach people. I put people through the information side of it. I'm not there to pep people up. I can pep people up, but I'm there because people are just fed up of just talking to these absolute crap, shoddy salesmen online that just trying to sell them crap they don't need. So I give them the information. I reinforce how to do it. So that's probably the approach I take. I'm very, very information based. That's why you guys always ask good questions, because you're going to come here and try and get, well, if it's me, maybe not, but if I'm Jerome, you'll definitely get a good answer. So, but yeah, thanks for your kind words as always. What's your best tips for maximum recovery? That's a good question. Go back in time and give yourself a reason not to overtrain, and go back in time and find better ways to recover. These people that ask that question, like about recovering, it seems that they've done too much in the first place, like trying to bring it back a bit. I think a lot of people, they just need to accept what they've done, whether that be too much at once, doing too many things throughout the day, stressing, neglecting sleep, not eating the right food. Just look at all those things and just take on the next day. So it means maybe today, I had little Maddie, year and a half, 1.5 years old, and she's well behaved today. Like, I don't have to bend over too much to pick her up and stuff, but you can see how that on a bad day would be a bad thing. It'd be a negative. It'd be like God, I'm tired, my back's sore, sort of thing. It could be a massive challenge sometimes, but you can work around these things. The best case scenario is to not put yourself in a position to overtrain and to need extra recovery. So what I recommend to everyone, I've said already, is buy the book, buy the damn book. It's excellent, absolutely excellent. It will teach you about recovery, how to manage recovery, what sort of things to look at, what sort of markers to look at in your training. In terms of like for maximum recovery, there's nothing new that I could say here which is revolutionary. It's, train appropriately, the minimum effective amount. So find out what you need to do in the gym and minimize it to the lowest possible amount, then work out from there. So find your protein requirement. You need protein to build up muscle tissue. Find your fat requirement. You need fat to give yourself fat soluble vitamins, energy to train, and structure it out from there. And what I've noticed now is a lot of people hover around different body fat levels. So some people I know will feel great at 8% body fat. Not many, but a lot of people do. Sorry, not many, but some people do. But then some other people will be like, oh yeah, I can eat, 6 times a day and train 7 times a week. And yeah, maybe they can. But there's a point, there's like a bell curve. So when I give people these guidelines, this general kind of like information, it's usually like, okay, maybe people at 10% body fat are about here, 20% body fat about here. Somewhere in the middle, people feel best for males. That's where they feel best, somewhere in the middle. That's broadly, but then you always meet people on either side. So you got to find out where you are and what you can achieve. The only way to do that is just get at it, work really hard in the gym, find out how much you need to do in the gym, then go about recovery there. Recovery is, I think, for the most part, nutrition and sleep. Everything else is secondary, in my opinion. If you're not getting those right, forget about it. There's no point buying, I don't know, blue blocking glasses and red light therapy and all these extra supplements if you're not getting nutrition and a sleep right. If you're turning off things at night, all the lights and things, it's better to be in a pitch black room than it is to sit here right now with blue blocking glasses on. That's the ideal situation. So find the big pillars of what you're trying to of your what you know you need to do, then work out from there. And if you've got that right, okay, that's fine. I sleep well. I'm eating fine. My body fat's stable. Okay, I'm still not recovering well. My training performance is going down. Okay, then start to look at the other things. I think a lot of people try to go all in at once. So that's something, a key point I recommend. Contrary to popular belief, I'm very safety focused myself. How else could I have survived relatively unscathed so far? What of your heart attack burgers, Rick? Yeah, you've done well to make it this far. Spot on, Rick. It's why Jonathan is one of my go-to sources for exercise advice. Thank you, appreciate that. Yeah, I've learned a lot from other people, admittedly. So Jerome Armstrong and Professor Bart Kay, they're my go-tos if I had any real queries. Sometimes you just need to rein it back in. You need to speak to someone that is quite grounded, perhaps someone that isn't a masochistic bodybuilder like myself, you know. So you got to speak to someone that's kind of been around the block a little bit. But yeah, there's a story to tell. There's always experience to be garnered. So share your story as well, Bob. You know, I know you've lost a lot of weight and stuff like that. So it inspires a lot of other people. So yeah, I'd definitely go about the route of inspiring others. I've got such a, I wouldn't say unique, but I'm an absolute minority in this space. I'm probably the youngest person in the space right now that actually puts out regular content. So my experience is different because I've coached a lot of people, you know, Bob's age, 40, 50 years old, and much, much older. I kind of have a grasp of what everyone else is doing and what has and hasn't worked. So everything I've gained has been with thanks to other people. Bob's an excellent example of applying sound diet and exercise weights. Check out his channel if you have not yet, definitely. Yeah, Semi-Retired Bob is his channel name. He puts out very regular content. I'd say every day or nearly every day puts something out. A lot of food for thought. He's good at storytelling, quite enticing to listen to, quite entertaining. Not entertaining like funny, ha-ha, but entertaining as in you can listen to him talk and feel inspired. So definitely check that out. Matthew's just passed level 2 gym instructor. Well done. Good job. I'm just having level 3 plus training, a lot of exercise and nutrition content. Yep, absolutely. If you ever query something, book a consult or something, refer back to the ebook you purchased. I can assure you everything in there is solid information. So, and if you're still stuck, like I said, book a consult with me, Bart Kay, Jerome Armstrong, Richard Smith. We're all pretty solid at that. I think. I don't know. I think so. Hello, listening from the beginning at 1.5 speed to catch up. Oh God, I better sound horrific. There we go. Hi Nathan, thank you for joining. Congratulations on the new book. I'll be buying shortly. Cheers. Yeah, I knew I had to make an ebook because I get the same questions. I get a lot of emails, social media requests in my spam inbox, and people are like, "Oh, what do you think about this?" I'm like, "I'll have to make an ebook now and charge people for it." So, yeah, but it's a great value book. You'll find it very interesting. I'd say 70 to 80% of stuff within that ebook is stuff that myself or Jerome has explained for a YouTube video or a live at some point. That's where we got a lot of our inspiration from. So we started to notice trends where, okay, people ask this a lot. This must be a thing that people aren't sure about or want a bit of insight about. So it should answer your questions. I'm pretty sure it will. You'll find the training format, information most useful. I'm certain of that, absolutely certain. Nutrition stuff, I think you probably know just from my experience before. You probably got a good handle on most of it, but it's nothing. It's nothing new. We haven't reinvented the wheel. We've refined everything through, good practices, listening to people online, experience, anecdotes, a bit of science, and put it together in a book. So it's what it says on the tin. I recommend looking, for people that don't know, looking through the contents pages to see what you actually get for your money. A lot is covered in that book, and there's actually some parts of it I didn't actually make a chapter title for, because I was like, I can't have a contents page that's like 3 pages long. So I'm biased, of course, but definitely buy the book, folks. Full of fantastic information and excellent value for money. Get it before the price goes up. Yeah, definitely. I'm not looking to reduce the price of it just because I've seen other books. I'm like, there's no way I can make it even cheaper than these. No way. So, you know, it's a good reference guide at the very, very least. So thank you for your kind words as always. She's in the next room and she knows I'm going to storm down and rip her head off if she says otherwise. I think I read that one. It's so hard for me to build muscle on this diet, even harder for me to get the pump. Yeah, a lot of people have that problem. I think a lot of it is they're not in a healthy state to begin with, so they're not increased the fat up enough. Most people I know, maybe 95% of people I've spoken with, they just eat too lean. So I get them to track what they're eating a day, and even take a photo, like send me a photo of what you're eating, and I'm like, wow, that's not much food. Or it's a lot of protein, but there's no fat on it. That seems to be the issue here. You can get the glucose you need, muscle glycogen, effectively, from protein, but you're going to need so much protein to reach that. By the time you're actually full with protein, it's so hard. It's so satiating to eat that much more to get that bump. So the protein has to be the right amount. Then the fat, you have to have both. I've honestly, I can't state how many times I've spoken to someone and say, "Oh, I eat loads of fat." They take a photo of their plate, their apps, whatever, their software, and like, that's not enough fat. I work with a guy sometimes. He's actually in this chat right now. He's a postman, and I was like, if you want to gain muscle, you'd have to just eat more fat, because he's doing 20, 30, how many thousand steps a day. His fat intakes will have to be ridiculous because he oxidizes so much fat throughout the day for energy. So definitely something to look at, in my opinion. If you're stuck and you're thinking this just isn't working, book a consult. Is probably something I can offer you there. I think this is the book. Now, there's a problem with my page here. It says pre-order, but it is available. So once you buy it, you get the book. You get the digital download link. But yeah, that's definitely the link. So recommend guys checking it out to purchase. I've gained a lot of weight on carnivore in the last 2 years. Should I reduce fat? Good question. One depends how much weight you've gained and if that's an unhealthy amount of weight. The other thing is, how do you feel right now? Do you feel sluggish? Do you feel like, God, I'm sleeping like a lot? I just feel heavy, tired, irritable, bloated. Then yeah, reduce the fat a bit. Just make the smallest possible change to get the best outcome. So maybe right now you have 3-4 tablespoons of butter a day. Maybe just have 3. Do that for a week. Look at the scale. Look in the mirror, something like that. Find a way to measure, objectively measure what you're doing. Then go from there. I'd recommend reducing the fat first in most cases, just because it does tend to drop people's body fat. Too much fat will make you fat, despite popular belief. So yeah, don't you forget it. I sleep next to you, remember? Yeah, Sophie sleeps in a tiny little corner of the bed usually. I take up about 90% of it. What are your thoughts on deuterium and healthy aging? Just hearing about this on Pim's interview with Sarah Pugh. Good question. Deuterium actually is mentioned in one of the first pages or chapters of my ebook. I think I go over it. I think about 2 to 3 pages. I'm talking about deuterium. Does it age you? Yes. In fact, I want to talk about deuterium. I've noticed everyone complicates it to hell. It's a heavy isotope of hydrogen. When you have too much of that in your body's water content with deuterium being the hydrogen element of it, elevates too much. So you're looking at maybe 145, 150 ppm. Optimally, if you maybe go to somewhere where there's an indigenous tribe, I don't know, I'd guess it's about 130, 135. Those people tend to have a lot lower rates of illness, particularly illness related to aging. So they don't look old, they don't age fast, they don't have bad joints. They don't have bad skin, stuff like that. Subjective markers of aging. So with deuterium, what I personally look at is just, you deplete deuterium in your sleep. You deplete deuterium when you're in sunlight, when you're warm, if you sweat. You deplete deuterium if you eat low deuterium foods, so animal foods, animal fat. Yeah, I think that's probably the way to go about it. I think if you're eating animal foods, it will just gradually go down. I suspect that's one of the main reasons why people with fibromyalgia, I know you deal with things like that, and chronic fatigue tend to feel better after a while on the carnivore diet. But for me, it took about probably 2 to 3 years before I noticed that much difference. I'd say initially when I started 2020, I felt like death, maybe like energy 2 out of 10 initially. A year in, maybe 4 out of 10. Now, nearly 4 years in, I'd say 5 or 6 out of 10. So I still don't feel 100%, but a lot of that's related to pain. But I think a good portion of fatigue and tiredness is due to deuterium content. When the heavy isotope of hydrogen, which is deuterium, is raised, elevated in the body to an unhealthy amount, the mitochondria within your cells don't spin as efficiently. And optimally, they will spin around 9,000 RPM. And if you think of the energy powerhouse of your cell being the mitochondria, you got to think about the ATP you're producing. So the ability, the currency of your body, the energy currency of your body to fight off disease infections. If your body is taking in nutrition and it's working efficiently, it's churning through stuff, it's creating the right cells to do the right jobs, you're going to age a lot slower because it's running on rich oil. I don't know what it's called, but it's running efficiently, effectively. So there's definitely something to be said for that, and I think it's very understated. Found it quite easy to gain muscle and get very lean on carnivore. Yeah, some people do. If I just ate dairy and beef, I'd get lean really quick, I'd drop like 10 kilos in about 4 weeks probably. So yeah, gaining muscle can be easy. I think the main thing is people they don't sleep right, and I think that's where the carnivore diet really helps the sleep, the recovery side of it. So yeah. Yeah, good job. It's nice to see that some other people are actually improving on a carnivore diet. It's oftentimes the thing is with stuff online is we always hear this, like, not bias, but you always hear like, I'm having this problem. Here's my review of it. It's not good. I'm struggling to gain muscle. I have no energy. Blah blah blah. People that I mean this in a respectful way, but people that complain the most are more likely people that have a negative outlook on what they're doing because they've got a negative experience are most likely to complain. So if you go onto Amazon, look at reviews, 2 out of 10. Okay, well, maybe a few people put 2 out of 10 or 1 out of 10, but then a load of other people put 5 out of 10. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the problem with the diet itself. It's just the point in someone's journey right there, right then, isn't quite sorted out. They've got an issue to overcome. So whatever that is, I don't know, but it's certainly good food for thought. Any advice during very bad cold? Blood sugar's up but not feeling hungry, just crappy. Drink more water or less. EO feels bad, not COVID. Drink to first, eat to taste. B complex, supplemental, 1 to 2 tablets per day, maybe. Useful if you can't eat much. Taurine, vitamin D. Doses, I couldn't say. Do your own research, I'd probably say. Zinc as well. You'll deplete zinc a lot in times of stress, illness. Helps create mucosal tissue if that's what you're feeling. Do what your body tells you to do. Put yourself in the least stressful position possible. No cold showers, no dieting, no restrictive eating. Eat the food you enjoy, the animal food you enjoy. That's it. Which one of those makes the biggest impact? I couldn't say, because I had different anecdotes from different people. So that's where I'd personally look. I'm going to end this in about 5-10 minutes, guys, just because I'm getting old. So what are your thoughts of supplementing arginine and citrulline to increase nitric oxide production for building muscle and increase testosterone? I've got a video, Matthew, which I recommend, and it is something like 4 supplements for Carnival, something like that. 3 months old, maybe. Look for that one, and I go over 4 supplements. Arginine doesn't cut it, doesn't make the list. Citrulline is on there. I recommend that one. I think it is effective. Does it increase testosterone? Probably not. Maybe it does, but probably not. It's not the main driver of testosterone production by any means, so I wouldn't look there. My main focus for athletes, I know you're interested in that sort of thing, it's going to be the citrulline, the taurine, and supplemental creatine only if you're not eating much beef. Outside of that, you spin your wheels, really. Recommend a blood test, find out what's going on with vitamin D as well, if that's an issue. Yeah. I'll say myself, I feel the same, exactly the same, regardless of when my testosterone's out on a blood test. So, it's one of those things where if your testosterone is apparently low on a blood test, if you've had one, and you feel fine, your training's fine, don't look for a problem. Don't look for something which is, I'm going to boost it because it is apparently low. Are you getting results, yes or no? That's the thing you need to look at. So blood tests, if you're a relatively healthy person, only get them if you suspect something's wrong. So you're feeling sluggish, depressed, tired, irritable, dry skin, something like that, maybe your testosterone could be a bit low. Maybe there's something you've done wrong. Maybe your guts are messed up. Maybe your something's wrong. I don't know. That's where I'd look personally. If someone is doing well on a 50% meat-based keto diet after being vegan for 5 years, should he go full carnivore to stay keto as long as he's improving? That's a good question. I'd probably go keto initially, then carnivore. Maybe 4 weeks of keto, then from there onwards carnivore. I'd phase it in, so get rid of the spinach, the almonds, the kale, stuff like that first. All the salady sort of crap. The nuts, the seeds, get rid of. By that point, there's not much you can really eat on a keto diet other than animal foods. There's lettuce, that's about it. So yeah, I think it's just a gradual transition. That's my recommendation. I may make yet another transition to carnivore video for the new year, because I know a lot of people will be looking to transition as a New Year's resolution sort of thing. So maybe I'll do that again. And hopefully I'll get more than the amount of views it got last time, which is atrocious. It got like 300 views, and it's a perfectly good video. Well, it wasn't a perfect video, but it was the information was good, I think. Have you taken to electrolytes? I've tried the lemon orange one for the first time today. I felt strong in the gym. Nice one. Yes, I have. I've been given a lot of this stuff, actually. I've got the lemon and I've got the cherry berry one. I prefer the cherry berry one. I only use it really to flavour my drink. Sometimes if I don't eat much in the morning, I'll have a sachet of that before the gym. I couldn't say it makes a difference to me, but I've been doing this for 4 years. So I don't know. The main thing is probably the taurine intake, if you can supplement with that at all. What I would actually recommend is his Keto Pro pre-workout product. I actually use that, and it is good. Taurine, citrulline, and a few other ingredients in it that I find helpful. So I'll check that one out as well. But yeah, it's a good product. Do you get a lot of kickback and negativity from peers from uni, etc., about the way you eat, etc.? I left university, or graduated, in 2018. It's quite a long time ago. But initially, yeah, when I studied human nutrition, everyone on my course was vegan or vegetarian, plant-based. When I asked them how they deal with nutrient deficiencies, they couldn't really answer. They just said, "Oh, I get a mixed diet, so it's different." I'm like, well, a mixed diet is a mixed diet of animal foods. If you're eating anything that isn't that, you're eating a mixed diet of, I don't know, modern non-foods, which aren't really nourishing. A food should nourish you, as you probably know. But yeah, I got some kickback there. Like, I remember this one thing in uni, and I think I was in the house first, or whether it's the dorm or whatever it was, and I put my meat on the top. So we all had one shelf each for the fridge. There's 4 of us that are using it, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I had my meat at the top, just thought, well, I'm the tallest person here. Why should I have to bend down the lowest to reach something? Doesn't make sense. I was also the first person there, so first come, first serve. Anyway, they told me to put my meat, which is at the top, to the bottom, in case it drips down and gives the other people salmonella. What? You want to get salmonella from lettuce leaves than you are chicken or meat. Ridiculous. But yeah, I did get a little bit of grief for it. Then again, I compare my physical state to theirs. I was looking at people that are 25 years old, which looked about 40. So, you know, that's it. Stuff the naysayers, Jonathan, is very inspiring. Thank you. Much appreciated. Yeah, not too bad. Matthew, I have to have you on at some point in the future when you're ready to talk about your diet. You know, when you got to a point where you've sort of figured things out, you've got a story to tell, that'd be quite nice to hear. My pleasure. Excellent. I'm going to wrap this up now, guys. I don't think we have any more questions for today. It's been a delightful session. 1 hour long. Myself just rambling on Carnival Ramblings. Again, the website for the ebook is compositionconsultant.com, and it's under coaching and plans, and the ebook is somewhere on the page. Buy it. Definitely get it. All right.